Am I doing this wrong? Happy 50th episode! How fitting that that doesn't work for the Cahn Solo podcast.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. We love you so. Your human buddy Sam and his teddy friend. This is hello. The song's almost over. It's about to end. Let's start the show. Cahn Solo podcast.
Hey, welcome back. Or if you're just joining us for the first time, what are you doing? This is the 50th episode. You're not supposed to start on number 50. I broke the little, since you couldn't hear this, if you're listening on Spotify, I have a kazoo, or whatever the party blower. Those things that are supposed to go, woo! Maybe I'm not doing it hard enough. Close enough. Happy 50th episode. We're not going to do anything special today. I thought about it, and I'm not like a big celebrating milestones type of person, because here's the thing. For New Year's, I don't, it's another year, whatever. I feel like the only real mark of a year is your birthday, and even those, I kind of stopped caring. I'm one of those people that's like, it's just time. You can start anything that you want, anytime you want, and make it happen. And so it's 50 is a number. So is 51. That's not to say that this isn't really awesome that we did this. We made it to Stu. We made it to 50 episodes. Who'd have thunk? You could put your arms down. By the way, we're done celebrating. There you go. By the way, if this goes out of focus, I don't know what's going on with this camera. Last week when I was editing, there was a lot that kept going out of focus, and I don't know, man. What are we doing? We still don't know. Today's episode, we're gonna look at our Spotify Wrapped. I took a little peek last week, but I didn't. I wanted to do it on the show and do that with you guys. That was very special. That there was even a Wrapped. I didn't know that there was gonna even be a Wrapped for it. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you need to have like a minimum amount of like views or listens or whatever you call it. But we made it. It says Spotify Wrapped. Your Wrapped is here. Cahn Solo. So we're gonna look at that, and then I wanted to talk about this George Santos feller, because I find him fucking hilarious, and I guess he's gotten kicked out of Congress. Like, I think he was the fifth or sixth person in history to get expelled. So that's funny. So we're gonna read about him a little bit. And that's going to be it. Oh, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my dudes. Isn't that a meme? We're going to start doing episodes on Wednesday because apparently those are like the day you want to have the podcast day closest to a Monday. And what I've been reading, I'm on a podcasting Reddit subreddit, and that's like the number one thing not to do, like when to release days, is on a weekend. And I always do it on a Friday, a Saturday, or sometimes Sunday, which are the worst days. And I'm always like, whatever, Like, if you want to listen to it, you're going to listen to it. But apparently, keeping it as close as you can to Monday is the way to do it. So since, we just hit the 50 episode mark. Sorry, my brain is all over the place, as it always is. Since we hit the 50 episode mark, I thought we would do a little change and see how that works. If the algorithm pushes our stuff out more, I don't know. Whatever. We're gonna see what happens. And I like this more because I can record on the weekend and then edit Monday and Tuesday and have these out by Wednesday or Thursday at the latest, and we'll see. So we're gonna do the Spotify Wrapped. Cahn Solo, your Wrapped is here. Let's go. All right, these Spotify Wrapped things are always really funny because they push this personality on you. I don't. They're really goofy to me. There's a lot of. I just want to see the stats. We don't need to see a bunch of Gen Z talk and ooh, this Spotify Wrapped was lit. Shut the fuck up. Show me the goods. All right, here's one. In 2023, people were really, really feeling what you do. Okay, so there's nothing there. All right, everything has to load. Another slide. Ready? Let's take it from the top. Speaking of top, your top episode was the number 1 episode. Get it? I'm by myself. That's the worst one. Although, I guess if you're going to start a podcast, that would be the one that you would start with, I assume. Unless you, if there's a podcast that has 500 episodes, you're probably going to start where you start. But going all the way back to 2017 would probably be a little ridiculous. All right. It was 124% more than your average episode. Oh, it was streamed more. Okay. All right. Awesome. Let's go on to the next slide. Let's hear it for the new fans. Is that the slide? Okay. There's another. Jesus. 94% of your listeners discovered you in 2023. I think that's when the podcast was launched. Oh, no, it was launched at the very end of 2022 in November. So, okay, that's awesome. I didn't announce it until, I think, January. All right. Get it? I'm by myself. Really brought them in. 29% of your new listeners started right there. I feel so bad if you started from the first episode because that one, it was a bad one. I didn't have, I mentioned this before, I didn't have the sound. I think the sound was the microphone on top of the camera, which is really, really awful. And my old microphone, it was plugged in, but I didn't have on QuickTime, I didn't have the setting to pick up the mic. So I think I was using the computer mic, it was listening to me. Anyway, it was bad. It was not a good time. All right, next one. How does it feel to have gone global? All right, this little worm has been moving around the screen for 30 seconds, so I don't think there's going to be a stat there. Okay, you were streamed in 16 countries. United States was your top country with 47% of your total streams. Next slide, I guess. When I click on the next slide too early, I miss something. But then if I leave it on, it doesn't. There's these little colorful worms that just go across the screen. It's okay, cool. All right. You have the most new listeners in the United States. Number 1. Number 2 is Germany. Number 3 is Canada. And number 4 is Australia. That was terrible. All right, next slide. Your listeners have good taste, obviously. So what else are they into? This will be very interesting. Your listeners' top podcast genres were number 1, comedy, number 2, society and culture, and number 3, true crime. Okay. Next slide. Your listeners' top music genres were rock, pop, and rap. Your listeners definitely told their friends about you. Okay, is that the... All right. Your podcast was shared all over. 50% direct link and 50% Instagram. All right. Your podcast rating was 4.8. Can you feel the love? Is that... What is that out of, though? Is that out of 10 or is that out of 5? Are they going to show me that? I hope it's out of 5. I really hope that's out of 5. That would be kind of embarrassing. This year, your listeners did more than just... Okay, the slide just moved. What? Can I read? This year, your listeners did more than just listen. They got talking. Okay. Yes, I got... All right. 30. You created 34 Q&As, I had Q&As, which received 4 responses. There were Q&As on here? Did I do it? I don't think I did a Q&A. I don't even know how. Can't forget to give a shout out to your biggest fans. Who's that? Is it me? You're a top 10 podcast for 61 fans. Hell yeah. You're a top 5 podcast for 40 fans. Drum roll, please. All right. You're the number 1 podcast for 5 fans. The 5 of you are invited to my wedding. When it happens, if it happens. That's so cool. Is that the end of it? 80% joined you for the first time this year. Next slide, I guess. Let's zoom out. Is there a way to just get this on like a spreadsheet? Okay, and now it's just summing up everything. What a year. Top 10, top 5, top podcast. Is there anything new? Cahn Solo, thank you for sharing your podcast with the world. You're welcome. Speaking of sharing, we made something special just for you. Okay, and it's a thing to post on the Instagram. I don't think I've been on the podcast on the Cahn Solo Instagram in a little while. Let me see if you guys anybody tagged me. Oh, Dane Yoshida. Hi, Dane. What the fuck? It says Cahn Solo. How did that happen? That's not me. Oh, there I am. Okay. So I'm okay. I guess there's an artist named Cahn Solo, and then I'm on his podcast list as Cahn Solo. Who's this Cahn Solo guy? I gotta check him out. Yay! Dane. All right, Dane is. I'm gonna talk about Dane for a little bit. Dane is. I don't know what he does exactly. I think he's in like the entertainment industry because I'm on his Instagram. He's got a bunch of music and concerts and stuff. Dane, his TikTok is really awesome because he goes to. Can I go on to his TikTok on here? He goes to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery a lot, and he takes video of the headstones and stuff. And anytime that somebody really famous passes away, he's got a Walk of Fame playlist. Anytime that someone really famous passes away, he'll go out to their star if they have a star on the Walk of Fame. And he'll do a nice little like tribute. Like, I don't know if he puts flowers down or, I mean, other people do obviously, but he takes a nice little video. And if they were, a singer or something, he'll play one of their songs, and it's really cool. And I really like that he does that because he's doing like what I wanted to do, like probably a decade ago. which is visit like all of these really popular graves. And Hollywood Forever Cemetery is it's full of them, and everybody in Hollywood ends up there. And I got this book, like, I think I was 30, 25, it's like this thick, and it was all these like famous graves like throughout the country, throughout the world. And, you know, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, the Ramones, all of them, and all these famous people. And it had a picture of them, of their headstone, and then, you know, a little snippet about them. And when I got that book for my birthday, I had this idea of, when I was older, now, I wanted to like travel the country and visit every single one of these, like check off like each page. And I'd plan it out so that, you know, I got to see like Anton Yelchin, and, you know, he's at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and then see Carrie Fisher or whatever, and make my way like across the country. And I never got to do that because I don't have the funds to do that. And yeah, I wanted to do like get like an RV and just spend, I don't know, like 3 months just doing that and check them all off. I thought that would be really fun and a cool experience, a cool thing to say that I did. But yeah, Dane, thank you, Dane. That means a lot. I know. Hey, how's it going? Somebody reached out a couple weeks ago about getting I think it was a dummy, called a dummy battery, which is, I guess it's like a thing that you hook into the battery that keeps the power on. I don't know. I looked into it a little bit, but the camera shuts off every 30 minutes. So that's the problem that I usually have. The battery, I think I'll do the dummy battery so that I don't have to worry about the battery, but the camera is always going to shut off. And anyway, the camera shut off. I can't remember if I said thank you to Dane. Thank you again, Dane. Thank you to everybody that's been listening and watching. The cemetery thing though, I got to be careful how I phrase this. I like cemeteries. Yeah, I like cemeteries. They're interesting. The concept of it, it's people storage, so to speak, and we're all just meatbags in the end, and cemeteries are proof of that. We just go into the wall forever, and I that's a really interesting concept to me, because anytime that I drive by a cemetery and I see all the headstones, I'm like, dude, there's people. Obviously, there's people in there. And when I think about like how it all works, it's so like, are they stacked like kind of on top of each other? Because if they're all right next to each other, I don't think that would work, especially since like some of them are on hills, or they're like around curves and stuff. Like my brother is, I have a brother that passed away, 7 years before I was born? Yeah, 1979. And where he's buried on this, like, he's buried way up on this hill. And it's like, you know, it's slanted up there. And he was only 14 months old when he passed away. So he's in a little coffin. And I think the little section that he's in is a lot of like children, like toddlers and stuff. And they're on like a hill. So when I think about like where he is, like if he's 6 feet under, it's like, okay, is the person right next to him also 6 feet under, or are they like 8? Are they like 8 feet, or are they 4, depending on how close? You know what I mean? Like, is this making sense? I just, it's fascinating to me. And the way that like he died in 1979, and I think a lot of the people around him passed away around that same kind of era. So what happens? That was only like what 44 years ago, so they're not gonna go anywhere for a long time. But when I think about, like, I'm sure that there's some people at that cemetery. It's a huge cemetery that were born or that died in, like, I don't know, the early 1900s or the 1800s. What happens to everybody? That's what I'm getting at. What happens to everybody eventually? Because over time, we're not having more land that's popping up. There's a limited amount of space, I feel like. And eventually, over time, like my brother, I don't think that in another 200 years or something, is he going to still be there? Like, is that the rate? People are dying every day. And the cemetery, do they get full and then they're like, all right, no more people. We're just maintaining this. We're just going to put roses on the headstones and people can come visit. But even then, like, over time, people stop. They stop visiting, right? Like, because they don't have a connection anymore. I don't know. I need to look this up because I'm sure there's some kind of, there's probably someone on TikTok that does this, like has Q&As, like they're a mortician or a funeral director that would have an answer. Because I don't think that there are family members that are going to visit someone in like 100 years, because who knew that? Like, all right, let's say my great grandpa, I think his name was Gutman. He died in like 1848, and I don't know where he is. I don't know where his grave. I think he's in New York, but I don't think is anyone visiting him. You know what I mean? Like, what offspring is going to visit him? Like, who's there? Like, oh, Gutman, oh, I miss you. It's fucked up, but it's true. Like, nobody is alive still that is mourning him or celebrating his birthday or his death day. It's just like he's just taking up space. I'm just saying. And that's my great grandpa, so I can say that. Or great. Yeah, great. What I'm getting at is there are people that are just we're carcasses, and we rot in these boxes, in these marble enclosures, and they're beautiful, the mausoleums anyway. But like, what do we do? What do we end up doing in the long run? Like, what do we do with these people? Because eventually they're going to disintegrate, and it's just a coffin in there. Like, do they have like everybody in a database and they're like, all right, well, Gutman has been in here since 1848. That's 200 or 175 years. Like, what's left? And I don't even know. Like, what is he? Was he embalmed? Was that a good thing back then? I don't know. It's fascinating to me. I really wish I did that cross country trip. Maybe I'll do that before I turn 40, though. That'll be the big thing that I do. All right, we're gonna get on to talking about death on the 50th episode. How fun! All right, so George Santos is this weird little dude who he was elected. Is that going? All right. He was elected into Congress, I think, like a year ago, or 2 years ago, and he was just kicked out because they finally realized, hey, this is a joke. This man should not be in Congress. Should any of them be? But he's got. It says that he's got 23 felony counts against him, and what I don't understand is how this guy got away with this for so long. Isn't Congress like this is, and this is not to talk down on any what do you call it, service workers if you work at Target or something. This isn't Target. This is Congress. So I feel like a background check, this guy could have gotten through like the Target hiring process. He shouldn't have gotten through the Congress hiring process. That's what I'm saying. He just was lying all the way through. And it's funny. It's funny now because of how ridiculous this is and how stupid we all are that we let this happen. We're going to go down the list here. All right. So his oop, did I click out of it? So his felonies, I'm going to go to his Wikipedia because they were listed there. All right. So he's got 9 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, 2 counts of theft of public funds. Get out of there. 2 counts of making materially false statements to the House of Representatives, 1 count of conspiracy to commit offenses against the United States, 1 count of making false statements to the FEC, 2 counts of falsifying a record or document, 2 counts of aggravated identity theft, and 1 count of unlawful monetary transactions over $10,000. So we're going to go back a second. The thing that should have been a red flag is his little weird lying that didn't, like, what was the point of it? He lied about his grandparents. He said his maternal grandparents were Jewish Holocaust refugees who fled Soviet Ukraine when they were actually both born in Brazil. When confronted about these lies, he said, quote, "I never claimed to be Jewish. I'm Catholic because I learned my maternal family had a Jewish background. I said I was Jew-ish." It's not how you use that word, sir. You don't do that. Various points in his career claimed to be a proud American Jew, a Latino Jew, Jewish, half Jewish, and then the Jew-ish. In an interview later, he backtracked and said, quote, "I believe we are all Jewish because Jesus Christ was Jewish." The buffoonery. He had a little 9/11 lie as well. Where was that? I think he said his mom was like, she worked in the World Trade Center or something. Where is he? He's got, okay, so I'm scrolling his Wikipedia and this is probably one of the longest Wikipedias I've ever seen. It's just all of he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 6 different like subsections that are all his oopsies, all his fraud charges and everything. All right, I just saw his mom. So basically, this guy he's been lying for the last. Well, he's technically been lying like most of his life, but he's been lying while being a Congress member, and he's finally getting caught here. All right, so his mom was the first female executive at a major financial institution. She worked in the South Tower of the World Trade Center and died a few years after after she survived the 9/11 attacks. But on her 2003 visa application to return to the U.S. from Brazil, it said that she had not been in America since 1999. How does that work? So it said that in June 2001, she was living in Brazil, and she was a home care nurse. Whether she lied to him or not, I don't really know. But for him to continue that lie and be using her story as like, oh yeah, it's 9/11, like everyone in politics gets a hard on for that kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, 9/11 victim, oh, war victim, I survived this, I did this. It's like, oh, he's so resilient and he's so brave or whatever. And they are. And if this really happened, this would have been one more story. Like, wow, yeah, his mom, like Pete Davidson. Everyone's like, wow, yeah, that was very noble, and it was, and that will always be something that he's connected to. And you can shit on someone all you want, but then when you think about those kinds of things, you're like, man, wow, he's been through a lot. So when you hear about all these things that Georgie has been through, and then you're like, well, his mom survived 9/11, but then she didn't. It's like, oh, well, fuck you then. So in a Piers Morgan interview, he insisted that his mom had been at the World Trade Center. The amount of bullshit that came out of this man is he lied about having a bachelor's degree. Said he had a bachelor's degree in finance and economics and had a 3.89 GPA. And then falsely claimed to have been a star player on the Baruch volleyball team at Baruch College. Baruch? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Later admitting he lied about graduating from any college. So did the guy go to college? Santos stated in October 2020 he had a brain tumor, and when asked about it in 2022, didn't answer any questions. During his campaign, he spent funds, $30,000 in hotel bills, $14,000 in car services, $11,000 on luxury items, $1,500 at a pet store, few $1,000s at casinos, and over $25,000 at one restaurant. Oh, it's for a victory party, but he never paid. I guess that one he didn't pay. So he owes $25,000 to this restaurant still for a victory party. Credit card fraud, $173,000 unaccounted for, many of which OF subscriptions. Can I say? I don't know if I can. Can I say it? The fan store, where they only sell fans. Oopsie. Anyway, the reason that he popped up is because he's on Cameo now. He got kicked out of Congress, and he made a video on Cameo. He's charging $200 a video on Cameo. And if you want a fun little message from George Santos, you go on there and you pay him $200, and he'll say, oh, happy birthday, Grandma. Happy birthday, Susie. Whatever you want him to do, he'll do it. And I fucking hate it because he's a bad guy. We're not supposed to be doing this. I can't figure out why we keep celebrating bad people. This is why everyone laughs at us. We don't take anything seriously. He's going to be fine. He's probably going to make more money doing this, making fun appearances. And if he's making $200 a video, and even he's got a huge following, if even 5 people. That's $1,000 right there for him to do minimal effort content. What? Why? And what happens is these people get, it becomes like, it becomes okay. And we think it's funny, and people, I'm sure there's going to be like YouTubers or something that do this for content, like, oh, I got George Santos to say, to tell my wife I'm going to divorce her, like as a prank. He got the money. He's winning. We're giving him money. Like that's what it comes down to. And I think about like, what's that fucking kid? Rittenhouse. I think his name is Adam. The kid that went to Kyle Rittenhouse. He's a celebrity now. We made him a fun celebrity. He's like, oh, ha ha, ooh. He's like hanging out with fucking podcasters and like, why? O.J. Simpson. Holy shit. People love O.J. Simpson. That's the funniest thing to people. You go on his social media and it's like, we're joking. The juice is loose. Like, why is that? Why are we doing that? He's a murderer. He killed 2 people. It's funny though, right? Like it's funny because it's O.J. Simpson. Ha ha ha. He didn't know. We're going to do that to this guy, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off because we're giving these pieces of shit attention, money, for what? Because it's funny now. It's like, oh, ha ha ha. I'm so fucking glad that we didn't do that with what's her face, Casey Anthony, because when that documentary came out, I think it was this year. I was so afraid that I don't know if she's on social media. I don't think that she is, but I was so afraid that we were gonna let her into the spotlight and, you know, commenting and boosting views. It doesn't matter if you're saying mean things to people on the internet. The best course of action is to ignore, block, disregard. But we can't do that. We have to give O.J. Simpson and George Santos and Kyle Rittenhouse, we have to give them like attention. And there's no such thing. There really is no such thing as bad publicity. We're giving it to them. They love it. They love it. And we're going to continue to do that. So congratulations to George Santos. He's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. On that note, that'll do it for us. Thank you to everybody who has been listening and watching and supporting for the last 50 episodes. We just hit 401 subscribers on the YouTube, which is, that's amazing. To get people to subscribe on YouTube is a feat. So 50 was impressive. So 400 is, Spotify, I don't know. I think there's like 100 some people that follow on there, but I don't know if you have to, I don't think you have to follow to listen. So I know that there's like 100 some listens per episode. So thank you to everybody listening. What TikTok, the Instagram, wherever you're watching, thank you. It really means a lot. And it's so strange. Like to when I'm like talking right now, I'm like, wow, people are going to listen to this. Why? It's crazy. Yeah, we're going to stick around. I think we said we were going to get lighting last week, but we're going to do that this week. So hopefully it gets here by next week, and we'll have a nice little lighting here and look a little more professional, right, Stu? Right. So yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you to all the patrons. That really means a lot that you support us for whatever we're doing. I still don't know. We'll figure it out. I promise. Mr. Stu, is there anything you'd like to add? That's a good question. I think I want to be cremated. I don't know if I want to be in a box forever. I'm a little claustrophobic, and I don't like that idea. In the pitch black. I'd rather be cremated so that they can Salt Bay me somewhere. I don't know where though. I don't know. I just haven't really thought about that, but maybe I should. Yeah, good times. Don't commit murder or fraud. Don't do that. I feel like they're really easy things to not do. So don't be OJ Simpson and don't be George Santos. Don't do anything that they've ever done unless you want to play football. He was good at that. If you want to play football, you could do that, but don't do the other stuff. If you go shopping this weekend and you use a cart, make sure that when you put your groceries away that you put it back in the cart return, because that's where it belongs. And we'll see you next week. It did it. You just got to blow really hard.